Okay, before I begin, I have to talk about a certain piece of controversy surrounding this movie. In fact, I dare say it's inevitable. Towards the build-up of this movie, there was already fear over how Sonic was going to look when a poster showing him in the shadows was put up on the internet. And it looked horrifying. It looked like they were trying to make Sonic realistic, but it was just coming off to a lot of people as creepy. There were memes up the butt of how Sonic was going to look, and people were actually comparing it to Detective Pikachu because that movie actually got the look right. But nothing prepared us for the actual reveal.
SFPD! Meow?
What the heck is that?
That Batman is your new enemy. The Manchog! I'm just gonna quote what everybody else was saying about this because there's really no better way to describe it. It looked more like somebody was wearing a Sonic the Hedgehog onesie, but it somehow fused into his body and created this human Sonic thing. The reaction to this was beautifully apocalyptic. Not even just people, but video game and movie news outlets were roasting this. We got headlines like, "The Sonic the Hedgehog movie trailer shows how far we have strayed from the light." And don't even get me started on talking about the reaction videos, because I'm going to show you them instead.
Oh! I so wish I was recording my reaction to this. I mean, just the whole time, like, I'm gonna try and just recreate the face I had. I don't even know what that looks like. That's just the face I had.
It was being called a horror movie, a step backward for humanity, and a mere 2 days later, the director announced that they were working on a redesign for Sonic. The movie actually had to be delayed from September to February. It actually took about $5,000 to do the redesign. The studio that did the redesign got shut down for some reason. And after all of that, it actually turned out to all be worth it because the movie was a hit. So what do I think of it? I think the movie is actually okay, but I do have quite a bit to say about it, so let's get into it. Let me start off by giving you my blunt initial thoughts of the movie. It's dumb. Like, really dumb. Just listen to some of these jokes.
Oh, I hope they aren't scanning me with x-rays. I had kind of an embarrassing lunch. I think that tank just had a baby. Wait a second, is this boat missing a head or does it have 2 bugs? Good times.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. It also doesn't help that the premise is something we've all seen before. A being from another world that we actually want to see instead of this one coming to our world to start having weird adventures. This premise is often frowned upon because it just comes off to a lot of people as a lazy way of making a movie. Like you didn't want to go through the effort of making an exciting and fun fantasy world, so you just bring the fantasy characters over to this world. We've seen it before, it's not interesting, it's cheap, and like I said, kind of lazy. And yet, people actually liked this movie. Well, okay, critics didn't like it, but mainstream audiences seemed to take to it just fine. So, why was that? Was it Jim Carrey, who I'll get to later? Was it because they fixed Sonic's design? Or maybe it's because people today just like dumb, campy stuff. Here's what my take on it is. As I mentioned before, I think the movie is pretty dumb and cliche, but what I think separates it from other movies that do stuff like this is that it feels earnest about it. It actually feels like the filmmakers go around the table and just said, why don't we give kids a good time watching a movie? And that's what this movie does. And it starts off with its main character. Sonic is actually really well written in this movie. He's portrayed as an immature, hyperactive little kid who's constantly making pop culture references. It works because it makes him identifiable. Kids can be like this sometimes. Kids make bad jokes, they can be excitable, they can make dumb decisions. But the movie delivers it all in a way that's affectionate, endearing, and actually embracing of those character traits. As such, Sonic actually is relatable in this movie. You either were this kid when you were young, or maybe you are this kid right now. And while the dialogue is pretty dumb at times, I will admit I do get a chuckle out of some of the jokes.
I know you're out there, and I know you're real!
No, I'm not!
Yeah, well, after that one too. This is what I meant before when I said it felt like the filmmakers gathered around a table and said, why don't we just give kids a good time watching a movie? And so it's because of this I find myself appreciating the movie more than I really like it. And I do like it. In fact, this does bring me to the thing that everybody liked about this movie, Jim Carrey as Dr. Robotnik. And he is hilarious in this movie. His portrayal of the character is that of a complete and total dick with an overly inflated ego. And Carrey is eating this role up with a spork. It's clear that Carrey is having a lot of fun with this, and apparently he got so into it that he ad-libbed lines that weren't even in the script.
No, don't be bothered. You just sit there and be you. Sless?
His character in general is great because of how much you love to hate him. You just want to punch him and wipe that smug grin of his face because he's such an asshole. I'm also happy that he's returning for the sequel because I do want to see where his character is going to go from that cliffhanger at the ending. Another good thing about this movie is that it does give you what you want to see out of a movie about Sonic the Hedgehog. It uses Sonic's power of super speed to create some good visual gags. And the action scenes are okay, with the exception of the climax, which is a heck of a lot of fun to watch. So like I said earlier, I think that Sonic the Hedgehog is a good, fun, dumb movie for kids, and I am giving it a 6 out of 10. Yet despite those feelings, I actually am looking forward to the sequel. That's all for now, see ya.